House are saying about the mysterious aircraft shot down above Alaska.
And what documents the FBI found in former Vice President Mike Pence's home.
And in sports, a packed night of action on the court in Southeast Ohio. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Morgan Anderson.
And I'm Jacob Mata. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. The Pentagon is offering more information on the mysterious aircraft shot down over Alaska. In this case, the object actually proposed a threat to civilian aviation because of its lower altitude.
Spokesman Brigadier General Patrick Ryder says it appeared to be different from the last Chinese spy balloon shot down last weekend.
We have no further details about the object at this time, including any description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin. The object was about the size of a small car, so not similar in size or shape to the high-altitude surveillance balloon that was taken down off the coast of South Carolina on February 4.
We don't have any information that would confirm a stated purpose for this object. We do expect to be able to recover the debris. Since it fell not only within our territorial space, but on what we believe is frozen water.
President Biden ordered the military to shoot down the object, but the high-altitude object was the size of a small car, which is considerably smaller than the surveillance balloon. The U.S. military says it also did not appear to have the maneuverability capabilities the confirmed spy balloon had. The racketeering trial of Republican former House Speaker Larry Householder and former Ohio GOP Chair Matt Borges is going into its fourth week. The prosecution is preparing to move on to other witnesses in the case. It plans to bring Householder associates Anna Lippincott and Megan Fitzmartin to testify. Former First Energy lobbyist Juan Cespedes and Householder political strategist Jeff Longstreth are also expected. Both have reached plea deals in this case. Householder and Borges are accused of playing roles in a $61 million bribery scheme to pass a nuclear power plant bailout.
A manufacturing company in Washington County is receiving a grant for new equipment. Micro Machine Works is receiving a grant it plans to invest in its Barlow Township facility. The $650,000 grant is being put together in association with Jobs Ohio, Ohio Southeast Economic Development, and the Southeast Ohio Port Authority. The money will go into a large 5-axis CNC machining center used for aerospace and Department of Defense work. Athens saw some warm and windy weather yesterday, and what are we looking at now, Cam?
Thank you, Jacob. And today we're going to be looking at a little bit colder weather, but it's going to be a lot more of the same that we're expecting. Today in Athens, it was overcast, and right now we have a temperature of 45 degrees. Winds are still a little blustery today from the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour here. Humidity was nice and stable at about 63 degrees, and our barometer is sitting at 30.24 inches of mercury. And rising, we're going to see some high pressure continue to build up over the next couple of days. On our visible satellite image, you can see a nice clear slot behind this low pressure system that sort of made its way up here to the northeast. That passed through last night along with its cold front. And we're going to see a nice clear slot behind the high pressure system that's going to be building right here. And tomorrow in Athens, we are expecting a high of 46 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, and a low of 24. Tonight, we are also expecting a low of 24 with partly cloudy skies. Those are going to dissipate as the night goes on, as the high pressure builds and builds. And that's going to be it for our full look at the weather. Now, back to you, Jacob.
Thanks, Cam. A new bill in the West Virginia House of Delegates is allowing taxpayer money to be funded into anti-abortion crisis pregnancy centers. That vote came months after lawmakers passed a near total ban on the procedure. The proposals provided taxpayer support for the centers, which typically counsel clients against having an abortion. The centers are also commonly religiously affiliated and free. Some Democrats were torn as they approved provisions that would increase a tax credit for the adoptive parents.
A new bill passing the West Virginia Senate requires new curriculum in the state's public schools. Senators passed a bill yesterday requiring public schools to teach about the Holocaust and other genocides. The bill would make West Virginia the 25th state to require Holocaust education in schools. The bill also would require schools to teach about financial literacy. The bill now heads to the House of Delegates. Colleges and universities across the nation are seeing a decline in enrollment.
Here in Ohio State, officials are proposing new ways to get students to stay close to home for college. Newswatch reporter Jack Demler has more on the story.
Educate our kids.
Governor Mike DeWine is proposing a $5,000 scholarship for students who graduate in the top 5% of their class and stay in Ohio. This proposal comes as a way to increase statewide college enrollment, which has seen an 11% decrease since 2019, according to the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center. The hope is that the scholarship will encourage kids to attend more in-state colleges and universities. In a statement from the Ohio State University, they said this scholarship will ensure Ohio high school students will stay in Ohio. Students like Cameron Hunter, a sophomore who hopes to stay in Ohio for college. Cameron says the possibility of the new scholarship provides a lot of incentives when it comes to higher learning.
Yeah, I feel like it's more, what's the word? Persuading to go to a school in state because you get money to go there.
Ohio University's Vice President for Enrollment Management, Candace Boninger, says she is encouraged to see the strong support of public higher education outlined by Governor DeWine's proposed budget. For Newswatch, I'm Jack Demler in Athens.
If the new scholarship is approved, DeWine states the $5,000 scholarship would be renewable for each of the 4 years. Coming up, investigators search for more classified documents inside the home of former Vice President Mike Pence. And more on the rescue efforts in Syria and Turkey after the powerful earthquake last week. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Why Chillicothe? Why this area? For some reason, this became a mecca for what was probably a religion, what we call Hopewell culture. We'll never know the reason that this was so important to certain people and why that developed, but it's certainly a beautiful place for it to have happened.
In the ancient Amazon, who lived there?
It had been assumed that the Amazon was pretty much untouched nature.
But now breathtaking finds it was some sort of urban complex. Reveal Ice Age societies, agriculture, and mysterious structures.
It's one of the most important archaeological sites that we have in the Americas.
Ancient Builders of the Amazon on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Kirsten had a lot of courage. She fought for Black culture.
They could have killed you. You're exactly what we need right now.
Oh my God.
What is this?
She was poisoned.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
On Secrets of the Dead. Hannibal was the greatest military figure in our history. His trek through the Alps is legendary.
The thought of Hannibal bringing 37 elephants over the Alps is ridiculous.
But how did he do it? We went after the chemistry, the mineralogy. Scientists uncover the mystery of...
That's the way that Hannibal would have come in.
Hannibal in the Alps on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
The FBI is conducting a search of former Vice President Mike Pence's Indiana home. The search comes after the FBI and the Justice Department's National Security Division launched a review of classified documents found at Pence's home last month. That's when a lawyer for Pence found about a dozen documents marked as classified at the home after being asked by Pence to conduct the search. It is not yet clear what the documents are related to or their level of sensitivity or classification. The Pence team has been in talks with the Justice Department and has expressed they want to cooperate with the federal searches.
As far as looking at the additional documents, I think that the Vice President's asked for full compliance. And
a source said the Pence team does not believe there are classified documents either at his home or at his office. According to sources, the FBI is also expected to search Pence's office in Washington, D.C. in the coming days. Former Vice President Mike Pence has been subpoenaed by the special counsel investigating former President Donald Trump in his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. A source familiar with the situation says that Jack Smith's office is seeking documents and testimony related to the Capitol insurrection. They want Pence to testify about his interactions with Trump leading up to the election and on January 6th. Pence's office and a spokesman for the special counsel have both declined to comment.
Search and rescue efforts are ongoing in Turkey and Syria after a massive earthquake devastated the region earlier this week. Workers are racing to find survivors, and the window for survival begins to close. Gloria Pazmino has the details on tens of thousands of survivors who are homeless and in need of medical aid.
Jubilation as rescue crews in Turkey miraculously continue to find survivors. In this case, an amazing 107 hours after the quake leveled the building. This young boy, the only survivor in his family. His father waves as he and his entire family are rescued 102 hours after the earthquake. His son cries on the sidelines as he is pulled out. Over and over, renewed hope as more survivors are found. Still, 5 days after the earthquake, massive devastation comes into focus. Thousands of families have been left homeless in the middle of freezing temperatures. With every passing hour, chances of survival begin to dip. Aid groups are racing to get supplies and set up field hospitals to care for the displaced and injured. Across northwestern Syria, people have resorted to staying in makeshift shelters, mosques, and the ruins of destroyed buildings. The effort to get aid into that region complicated by a long-running civil war between opposition forces and the Syrian government. I'm Gloria Pazmino reporting.
The death toll in Turkey and Syria has passed 22,000, with tens of thousands more injured. Ahead of a formal dinner tomorrow, a bipartisan group of governors will discuss the economy at the White House during their annual winter meeting. All 55 governors from every state and territory were invited. The gathering allows President Biden to gauge how he's being perceived on both sides of the aisle ahead of a potential re-election bid in 2024. The White House says Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris plan to use the opportunity to follow up on their economic agenda and find out how states are using their federal funding.
I think the success for all of us, Democrats and Republicans, is in part going to be measured by not what else we get done or pass, but whether we're able to implement what we've already done.
They've also discussed opportunities for continued investments in infrastructure and manufacturing, as well as lowering costs for working families. Tomorrow, President Biden and Vice President Harris and their spouses will host a black-tie White House dinner with all the governors. Why 10 former NFL football players are suing the National Football League. That story still ahead.
And we got our first taste of spring yesterday. Will we get another taste of it, or will we plunge right back into winter? Find about that and my full forecast and more after the break. And to stay up to date on the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
We are at Adena Mansion and Gardens. This is where Ohio history began. They're in their writing talking all night long about what they wanted Ohio to be. What type of state did they want Ohio to be? They wrote the Constitution, came out and saw the sun coming up over the Mount Logan Range. That is the inspiration for the Great Seal of Ohio.
What do you have, spies working for you? How did you find this? There's so much hope, joy, and life in that music.
I put it on. Wow.
Ooh, I like that.
When I first heard that song, I thought, here's somebody speaking what I feel.
I love this.
Okay, mind blown.
All this and more, now streaming on the PBS app.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow,
Nothing is more fun than finding treasures in Tennessee.
My granddaughter wanted to make mud pies in it.
Sounds fun to me.
What I like about his work is it's not too serious. It's just a really easy and kind of fun, cheerful thing for everybody to appreciate.
That sounds good. That's very good.
Watch Antiques Roadshow next time from Cheekwood Estate and Gardens.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
In the ancient Amazon, who lived there?
It had been assumed that the Amazon was pretty much untouched nature.
But now breathtaking finds it was some sort of urban complex reveal Ice Age societies, agriculture, and mysterious structures.
It's one of the most important archaeological sites that we have in the Americas.
Ancient builders of the Amazon on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Newswatch forecaster Cam Kuzno, and if you're anything like me, when you stepped outside yesterday, you had to double check your calendar to make sure it didn't say April 9th, but yes, it is still in fact February. And that low pressure system that's brought the cold front that has finally brought us back to February temperatures has begun to make its way up towards Canada, towards the northeast here, and we have this big clear slot in behind it. This is going to be because of some high pressure that's going to continue to build in. There's that low pressure system making its way up that way. That's what brought the very quick winds yesterday. And now we have a high pressure settled over Missouri here, and that's going to bring us some nice clear skies. And you can see the temperature drop just so steeply, all the way down to 41 was our low last night, from the 70s, which is what we were expecting. Currently on radar, there's not much going on. We have a little bit of the going on over here with the low pressure system passing up to the northeast. That is not going to affect us in any sort of way. Across the nation right now, that clear slot has made its way over into Chicago, up into Minneapolis, but over here to our east, it is still slightly cloudy. Those clouds are going to dissipate as the night continues. And tonight our low temperature will be 24 degrees under some partly cloudy skies that are going to dissipate into tomorrow. We had a beautiful full moon earlier this week. Right now we're making our way towards a new moon, completely dark. Tonight's sunset was at 6 p.m. and tomorrow's sunrise we will see at about 7:23. High pressure system is going to be the story over the weekend. We're going to see some nice clear skies and some relatively stable temperatures continue through the weekend. Tomorrow we're expecting a high of 44 degrees under partly sunny skies with a low temperature of 29 degrees. So it's still going to get kind of chilly at night if you have any plans for Saturday night. That high pressure is going to persist into tomorrow night, and when Sunday rolls around as well, we're going to see a high pressure system and then another system continue to make its way. It's going to miss us to the south here, so we're not really expecting any sort of precipitation, but it will bring in some moisture, and we're going to see a little bit of increased cloud cover over the weekend. Friday, we see mostly cloudy skies and then partly sunny tomorrow, for a high of 44 and a low of 29. And to end your weekend, Sunday, we'll see mostly cloudy skies as that moisture makes its way into the region with a high of 50 and a low of 26. And as the week progresses, we're going to see a high of 53 under partly sunny skies on Monday, lows of 27, but that's going to change by Tuesday. We're going to see a warm front hit us by Tuesday night, and we're going to have a high that's going to stay pretty consistent, and then a nighttime low shoot up about 20 degrees to 42 degrees. Then by Wednesday, we're going to get another taste of spring. You're going to have to make sure it's not April once again. Partly sunny skies on Wednesday, a high of 66 and a low of 49. And then a cold front's going to hit us on Tuesday and spoil the fun a little bit, but not before it gets to 67 degrees. Then lows will dip down below freezing for Thursday and Friday at 29 and 27 respectively. And that's all I have for your full look at the weather. I sure am happy to see warm weather come back. Now over to you, Morgan.
Thank you, Cam. With the Super Bowl just days away, 10 former players are suing the National Football League. The former NFL players are suing the league's disability program, Commissioner Roger Goodell, and the Disability Board. According to the suit, the former players say they were wrongfully denied benefits and that the NFL allegedly found ways to limit payments for their health problems. NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy issued a statement on the lawsuit that said its disability plan is, quote, fair and administered by a professional staff, end quote. Commissioner Roger Goodell says that the league does a yearly evaluation of their programs to improve health in the NFL.
One league that goes back every year and reevaluates everything we do, whether it's a safety rule or whether it's a competitive rule, whether it's taking out techniques to make our game safer for our players.
According to NFL executive Jeff Miller, overall injuries were down around 6% during the 2022-2023 season. Whether you're tuning in to cheer on a team or just watching for the commercials, Super Bowl parties will have plenty of snacks.
Mandy Gaither has more on what you need to know to keep foodborne illness at bay.
It's that time of year again, the Super Bowl and snacks. But don't let that food cause you to fumble.
1 in 6 Americans every year gets a foodborne illness.
Healthy people who get food poisoning may have a couple of days of digestive discomfort, but for seniors, children, and those with a suppressed immune system, these illnesses can be serious. You can protect yourself and others by following 4 steps. Clean, wash your hands and surfaces where food is being prepared and served. Separate, avoid cross-contamination.
By using separate cutting boards, knives, other utensils with different types of food, particularly raw versus cooked.
Cook foods thoroughly. Foodsafety.gov lists safe minimal internal temperatures, which vary based on the food you're cooking.
A thermometer is the only way to know if the particular food product has been thoroughly cooked.
Finally, don't leave food out at room temperature for more than 2 hours.
If it needs to be cold, put it in a bed of ice or keep it in the fridge and bring it out on occasion. If it's hot, keep it hot on the stove, on a burner, on a hot plate.
Don't let those leftovers sideline you either. Experts say it's best to divide them into smaller portions before you refrigerate or freeze to make sure the food is chilled throughout. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Food safety experts remind that takeout food and food brought for a party still needs to follow the 2-hour rule.
In order to keep it safe from bacteria, it shouldn't be left out at a room temperature for more than 2 hours.
An Ohio high school is lit up in support of its famous graduates Travis and Jason Kelsey ahead of the Super Bowl. Half of Cleveland Heights High School is illuminated in red for Travis's Kansas City Chiefs, and the other half in green for Jason's Philadelphia Eagles. The brothers, who both play offense, will be rivals for the day as their respective teams compete for the Super Bowl title.
And coming up in sports, it is a busy evening on the court. Stay tuned for updates on both Bobcat and high school basketball happening tonight.
In the ancient Amazon, who lived there?
It had been assumed that the Amazon was pretty much untouched nature.
But now breathtaking finds it was some sort of urban complex reveal Ice Age societies, agriculture, and mysterious structures.
It's one of the most important archaeological sites that we have in the Americas.
Ancient builders of the Amazon on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of securities is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
In a Frontline special presentation,
hundreds of civilians have been killed in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv.
a dramatic look inside Russia's attack on Kharkiv, told by the people living through it. The displaced families, civilians caught in the fight, and those risking everything.
Let's go.
To protect them.
You can call it any way you want, but it's a war.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
Lucy Ware Webb was born here. As a young lady, as the wife of the governor, as the wife of the president of the United States, she's always the same person. Just a terrific lady. As residents of Chillicothe, we're very, very proud of her. To have a person of that character to represent this community, small as it is, in the White House.
Welcome back. I'm Ethan Sargent with sports. The Bobcats are on national TV tonight as the men's basketball team hosts Akron on CBS Sports Network. Tip-off just over a half-hour away in the Convocation Center as the Zips come to town looking to bounce back. They lost to the red-hot Toledo Rockets on Tuesday after dropping conference leaders Kent State a week ago. Their last meeting ended 83-77 Akron over Ohio, with Enrique Freeman scoring 32 points on a ridiculous 14 of 18 from the field.
Ohio were finally able to pick up their first road win in the MAC Tuesday against Northern Illinois, and they'll need to keep up their momentum if they're going to go to Cleveland for the MAC tournament in just a few weeks. The Bobcats will need their stars to step up down to the stretch as well as tonight. Jalen Hunter's been great with 42 points combined in his last 2 games, leading the way in both games. Ohio will also need their senior leaders in Miles Brown and Dwight Wilson to boss up. DW3 is 3rd in the MAC in total rebounds and leads the MAC in field goal percentage. And his battle with Freeman tonight is going to be a sight to behold. Miles Brown has leveled up his scoring as well, averaging just under 11 a game. The Ohio women's basketball team's struggles will continue, and they'll look to try and end their season on a high. They take on Northern Illinois at the Convocation Center tomorrow at 1 p.m. Their 4-18 record is on course for the worst season for the Bobcats since Bob Bolden's first season in charge back in 2013-14 when they went 9-21. One bright spot in the season has been the development of sophomore Yaya Felder, who shined. At 20.5 points per game, she's the MAC's second leading scorer on average and has greatly helped to replace the production loss by all-time Ohio great Cece Hooks. Sticking with the hardwood, high school boys basketball is in full swing tonight across the Tri-Valley Conference. Let's start off with a banger in the TVC Ohio. The Nelsonville York Buckeyes will take the short trip down the alley to take on the Alexander Spartans. Can Kyler D'Agostino once again will his squad victory, or will the Buckeyes take one step closer towards a potential conference title? Tip-off 7:30 from Albany. Elsewhere around the Ohio, Megs travels to Athens as both the Marauders and Bulldogs prepare for difficult playoff matchups. Vinton County also heads to Wilson as they also can win the TVC Ohio title outright. Switching over to the TVC Hocking, where Belpre hosts Trimble in what should be a great playoff tune-up for both talented squads. Eastern will also go to Waterford as they look towards their grudge match of a playoff game against South Gallia in 2 weeks' time. Federal Hocking can celebrate their TVC Hocking Conference title after their game against Southern tonight. For all the updates, make sure to check out Hardwood Heroes this Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. And it's the second weekend of February. You know what that means? It is time to hit the diamond, as the Ohio softball team walked off their first game of the season today against the George Mason Patriots 6-5. After the Patriots put up a 3-spot in the top of the 7th to take a 5-3 lead, the Bobcats responded with a 3-spot of their own, as Anna Paoli hit her second homer of the game to tie it, and Cece Keidel scored on a throwing error to win it for Ohio. This was their first game at the Gardner-Webb Runnin' Bulldog Classic, and win number 1 for new coach Jenna Hall is in the books. They'll play 3 more times this weekend against Austin Peay twice and Gardner-Webb. All right, it's the big game. Who we got, Chiefs or Eagles? You know, Ethan, I got to ride with the Eagles. Their offense is hot. Their defense is hotter. Patrick Mahomes hasn't seen anything like it yet.
Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. Got no reason, just suspicion.
I'll make it unanimous. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I got the Eagles, too. No worries about the weather in Phoenix, but how about the weather here in Athens?
Well, the weather here in Athens isn't going to be quite as nice over the weekend. Tonight we're expecting a low of 24 degrees. Clouds are going to start up somewhat crowded and then continue to dissipate as the night goes on. That's going to be because we're going to have some high pressure continue to build its way through. We should hopefully see a nice day for tomorrow and the weekend as it progresses. Tomorrow we're expecting a high of 44 and a low of 29 under partly sunny skies. And for Super Bowl Sunday, mostly cloudy skies here in Athens with a high of 50 and a low of 26. And that's it for your final look at the weather.
Thanks, Cam. And finally tonight, this year's supersized Super Bowl
Ads seem to have a little something for everything. Companies are rolling out their Super Bowl ads, and this year looks like it will be a star-studded affair. Celebrities in multiple ads can be seen with everything from snacks and beer to laundry detergent and internet service. With viewership likely over 100 million viewers, advertisers can make big gains by catching those eyes. But with a 30-second spot for $7 million, running an ad can also be a big gamble. 60 commercials are expected to air during the big game. The key to success? Creating a conversation. Kickoff for the game is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on Sunday.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Jacob Mata.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. You can find the latest news here at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email WOUB at WOUB.